Welcome to Listen and Leap, where we meet inspiration with action. Today we have a part 2 with the one and only Godfather, Leonardo Ramil. Leo, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Slightly different setting. We're in the studio today as opposed to standing on the beach in Huntington.
I love it.
We're here. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're back. I was rereading through your book recently. And on the plane ride out here, I was struck by your framing of pause, remember, experience. And I saw that you framed it as an invitation. What are you inviting me to pause from? What are you inviting me to remember? And what are you inviting me to experience?
Yeah, so pause, remember, experience is a practice that was created in the classroom, and it really helped everyone, including myself, so much to pause from whatever you're thinking about, because there's so much coming at us during the day and our thoughts mostly. And if we would just pause, that is something we're not taught. It's something that we don't do. And just so quick overview, and then remembering. What you're remembering is the truth within yourself, the truth that God has bestowed upon you and has endowed you with. And when you're pausing, remembering that, and to just experience it. And what happens when one goes through that exercise is they begin to transform the world around them and their thoughts mostly. And that's what transforms our world, is a changing of our mind, is that we begin to change the things that we're challenged with and release them, surrender it up to love and our wholeness, and experience the truth of all that we are and have always been.
I love it. I love it. I was struck the very first time that I heard the pre-framework. I was out on a run, and I was running as hard as I possibly could.
Yeah.
Like pushing myself on pace. And I had that voice in my head that we're all too familiar with, that I'm all too familiar with, which is faster, harder, be better. It wasn't carrying the most positive of messages,
right.
But it was doing the job of pushing me harder.
Yeah.
And I was listening to your voice, and you were introducing this pre-framework, and I actually physically paused on the run. Like I stopped running.
Really?
And it was such a powerful experience for me because it sort of served as this metaphor for pausing those thoughts, which are always striving for more, which are always trying to acquire the next thing, be better, acquire more.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you apply pre in your day-to-day life? How have you applied it in the past week?
Well, first of all, it's such an invitation to just stop doing, stop acting, whatever is going on around you. And we need to be reminded of that. We need to be reminded that we don't have to keep thinking, we don't have to keep solving. And so for me, it's just, I get a phone call from one of my sisters and I'm already in it in my head and on this autopilot of and already always listening and already always happening on how to respond. And I give myself permission to just stop. And when I stop, I'm surrendering to the truth that has always existed and is there within me. And I'm pausing to that power and pausing to that gift and that hope that God has given us. And that's remembering. So the way that it applies for me is like every moment of the day. Every moment of the day, I'm thinking about all the things that I need to do, all the things that I'm not accomplishing and that I'm falling short. And we're not taught of our wholeness, because if we actually knew of our wholeness, like I equate knowing your wholeness to having an infinite amount of money in your bank account, right? If you knew that you had that, you would just be throwing out love. You'd be throwing out peace. You'd be just knowing it no matter what came your way. Like drama thrown at you, right? Phone call from my sister, from a relationship.
Yeah.
And immediately just stopping and just being like, hey, you know, I can acknowledge what is coming at me, but I also can just pause and be like, I'm not defined by this moment. And I get to surrender it to the remembrance of all that I am, which means that regardless of how the circumstance turns out, I'm whole. Yeah. And knowing your wholeness, embracing it, experiencing it, for me and for people that have taken my class has been everything. It transforms their world and their life, and it gets them back to where we've always been. And that is just peace and happiness that was given from above, always and forever.
Beautiful. I love this idea of how would you act when you're out in the world if you had an infinitely filled bank account? Yeah. And one of the passages that you have in the book is this $1 billion game.
Yes.
Can you explain to people listening and watching, what is the $1 billion game?
Well, a lot of times it's hard for us to get off of our story, right? Like I'm in class telling everyone, hey, you're whole and you're perfect. And one of the things comes up, I've got all these bills and I can't make it. Mm-hmm. And you're telling me that I'm whole and I'm complete. And the $1 billion game came about because when I was in a car with my nephews that were like 3 to 9 years old, and we were traveling for like hundreds of miles. And while we were traveling, they were just bored and they kept, oh my gosh, this is the worst trip ever. And I told them, I said, well, what would make it better? And they just said, well, why don't we stop for ice cream? I said, well, I said, we'll stop for ice cream if you can shift your mind and make this not a boring trip. I said, out of everything to choose in this world, why choose boredom? Why choose that this car ride is the worst thing in the world? And so when you switch it from ice cream to, I invite people for $1 billion. For
$1 billion.
Yeah, for $1 billion, do you think that you can get off what your story is?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can't be happy because I can't make rent. And I get it. And I'm not saying that when you know your wholeness that things change. What happens is that you actually begin to rely on the things that are eternal within you. Right? That's what wholeness is. Wholeness is remembering the eternal, soulful, spiritual part of you that will never, ever go away. Mm-hmm. But in your mind, when you choose to exchange it for things that are physical, you know? So the $1 billion game is just the invitation to switch people's mind from like, hey, for $1 billion, do you think you can make it happen?
Yeah.
Like you don't get a lot, like for me, like I constantly with every once in a while, maybe more than once in a while, with siblings that I'm challenged with, whenever I want to pick up the phone and get on with my attacks, I pause and I'm like, well, for $1 billion, could I change this situation and scenario and pause it and give it over to love? And I'm going to be, yeah, I'll take on that game.
Yeah. You created your own game show.
Yeah, you
got your own game show.
And it isn't fake. And at first, it's a matter of trusting love fully.
Uh-huh.
But here's the invitation. Like when you play that $1 billion game of love, watch the world around you change.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love it. It's the invitation, right? You're not making a claim on exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
But people respond to incentives.
Exactly.
And we are largely conditioned to respond to the incentive of money, right? That's why we all work jobs.
Yeah.
And, it's money is one that we can comprehend pretty well.
Yes.
And I love the framing that you've put this in, which is if it was your job to hold back on lashing out at your sister when she calls.
Exactly.
Could you do it for $1 billion?
Oh, all day long.
All day long,
Exactly.
right?
I'll do it for $500 million.
Yeah. I think $500 million might be the mark, but
exactly.
anything lower, and I'm
yeah.
sending the attack. But
it also brings in the reminder of the power of your mind. Right? Like, it's like, well, wait a minute. I'm not a victim to my circumstances. I've created the value of the circumstance, and I have the power to change it at will.
Yeah.
So it's changing the victimhood mentality back into the truth mentality, that which is, right? Now I'm getting a little abstract, but that which is, and that's which resonates in all of us. And that's the exciting good news. Mm-hmm. And that's why the book is titled what it is. You're perfectly whole. You just forgot. Right? You have $1 billion. You just forgot. And the currency isn't, the greenback dollar. It's actually, the currency is love. And we have an infinite amount of that. Mm-hmm. And if we would trust that, right? If we would just trust love fully, which means that we would trust our wholeness. We would trust the happiness that is. We would trust our oneness with God. We would trust our connection with everyone around us. Yeah. The world wouldn't just transform in our own selves, but, oh my gosh, everyone and everything around us. Yeah.
If I could offer an example as well, when I was rereading before this conversation, I was sitting on an airplane, and I booked the flight a day before I left. And so I got sat all the way in the last row of economy, backed up. I can't even lean my chair back. Yeah. And I'm sitting right next to the bathrooms. And I'm sitting there in this narrative of, I am uncomfortable right now.
Right.
And then I come across the $1 billion game, and I heard you speaking through the book and in the words to me and saying, for $1 billion, could you be at peace right now? And I'm sitting there as if I'm holding up a mirror staring at myself, and I'm like, no, I don't want to right now.
Exactly.
Like, no, I want to hang on to my discomfort. Right. And it's like, but it was a huge mental unlock for me, because I was like, no, I can reframe this.
I can reframe it.
I can persist. Like, I don't need endless entertainment. I don't need excess comfort. Like, I could make this 6-hour flight enjoyable and peaceful and relaxing if I was promised $1 billion at the end of it. But it almost serves like my own counterfactual to the narrative that's running in my head.
Right.
If I'm able to do it for $1 billion, then I could also do it for $0. Right. Like, that is the power of the mind that you're talking about here. And that, I just wanted to say thank you, because that was a huge unlock for me on the plane flight. And then I was able to apply it in a lot of other areas of my life. So,
well, I've always felt the things that I've shared from the class and from the things that come to me, I so humbly acknowledge that it's not from me. It's from our collective consciousness of love and the gifts from God. But I'm glad you're able to sit comfortably in the back seat of a plane. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing that it does is that it has us address the conditions that we made up in our head, or that we taught ourselves. How awesome to be discerning, or to be able to take discomfort, take the drama that's coming before us, and being like, hey, where did I learn this? Yeah. Or why do I believe this?
Yeah.
And I think there is power in the pause, right? There's power in just pausing and being like, wait a minute, I don't have to be that perception. I don't have to be that interpretation. I can go ahead and just sit with what is before me.
Right.
And instead of me reasoning through what I was taught, how to handle it, why don't I surrender that to love? Why don't I surrender that to my wholeness is sound? Why don't I surrender that to the love that just overcomes any and all that I may be challenged or having hardship from? Mm-hmm. And then doing that, I begin to experience the truth within me. I begin to experience that all that has always been. And that's really cool. And that's really what I get excited about sharing the message about. And I love when sharing the message that, hey, you're whole, you just forgot, people are it's almost like they're whacked with a truth stick, and they're just like, I know, and I want to get back there. I get kind of emotional thinking about it because everyone and anyone just needs to be reminded of their wholeness. Can you imagine if everybody just knew their wholeness? Right? Especially my friends who are experiencing or going through recovery or going through depression, going through a breakup, going through financial issues. And at first, the world says, no, you're not, because the condition's upon you.
Yeah.
You can't be happy because you don't have the relationship. You can't be happy because you can't make rent. You can't be happy because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And we stand in the drift and just say, no, I am, because that has been given to me and to you. You know, like when I tell people that they're whole, I'm also claiming it within myself. And there's wonder and there's beauty and there is just something really miraculous, fantastic about that whole recalling and remembering. Yeah.
I have watched you claim wholeness for me, claim wholeness for people in your life. How do you balance seeing that person for their perceived drama, for their perceived condition, while also claiming their wholeness for them? How do you balance the two things?
I don't see their drama.
You don't see it. You look right through it, past it?
I
Over
look past it. I look through it. I hold the space of their remembrance. Because I think that the drama is ego stuff, and the ego has such a crafty, clever way of saying, hey, because ego wants to be heard. Ego's like, no, I'm relevant. In fact, I'm so relevant, I'm going to throw more drama of time, money, and circumstance your way. And I stand there just saying, no, you are. And I see it. And I love when people tell me often, like, thanks for remembering for me. It's like, oh yeah. And as I remember for them, I remember for myself. But the cool thing is it's like a domino effect. When we begin to claim the truth and wholeness of everyone around us, they begin to see it in everyone else. And, that's a transformed world. You get to do it one person at a time, one claim at a time. I hope I answered your question. Like, how do you do it? I just beeline to like, no, they're already dealing it for both of us. I don't have to, you can do that part. I will claim it. And I get to trust the Spirit to complete the work. It is not my work. I'm here to only speak the truth. Like there is love and there is God and you're whole and you're perfect. Try that on. Or don't.
You're saying that your invitation is try on wholeness. I want to invite you to try on wholeness. Everybody else is going to validate your drama for you. Right?
Including yourself.
Your car broke down and you should be pissed. You should be upset. I'm going to be the one to invite you to remember that it's perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine. You're still whole. You're an outlier in that.
Well, it goes back to the $1 billion game, right? Like, what? And how big of a game do you want to play in life?
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, like, why not take the $1 billion game every single moment of your life? And what I mean by that is claiming love in every facet and trusting it. And that's a game that I want to play all the time. It's a game that I want to share. It's a game that I think everyone is capable of. And the cool thing is everybody wins.
You're saying that would you call it the $1 billion game? Would you call it the love game? Like what?
The wholeness game?
Wholeness
Absolutely,
game.
Yeah. Like what would you do to be whole?
So this is not a zero-sum game. Can you clarify that? Are you saying that it's not a zero-sum?
It's not a zero-sum game. Like just because in this world, we're taught that if I win, then you must lose. Like if you have a glass of water, if I drink from that glass of water, then you have less to drink, and I have, taken some of yours.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the love game, the $1 billion game, when it comes to the wholeness game, it is so infinite that what I have within me, as I extend it, it grows. That is my claim. That is my belief. That is what I have actually witnessed. That the love that I'm giving you isn't taken away from you. If anything, it expands.
Yeah.
And the light in you, I just reminded you of, and it begins to begin to glow brighter. You just turn it back on. Mm-hmm. But I love that when we share the good news of truth, then it is always expanding. We're always creating. We're always sharing, and it's infinite.
I think about it a little bit like inspiration, where I feel like we've been on such an awesome journey together, where you've shared a lot of your spiritual journey with me, and we talked about in the part one sort of this permission that you granted me to walk my own individual spiritual journey. Like that was the first time I had heard that. I didn't know that I could pursue spirituality outside of organized religion. I didn't know that was a possibility.
Right. Yeah.
A create your own adventure as it comes to building a relationship with the creator. And that permission granted was in a way inspiration. And then I feel like we've had this like compounding positive reinforcement of a relationship where I then in turn can inspire you in various ways while on my journey.
Absolutely.
You come back and inspire me. You wrote a book, you published a book, and then I'm like, I watch you do that. I'm like, oh, I can do that. and so it becomes this like very positive reinforcement of inspiration. And now we've created this relationship where inspiration exists, and it's sort of this spiral upward.
Yeah.
It is not zero sum by any means.
Right.
And the beautiful aspect of that is that that's one form it can take, but another is wholeness. Another is love, because I also know in our relationship, we ping pong back and forth reminders of wholeness all the time. Right. Like we say it a little bit tongue in cheek when you come to me with an issue that you're going through, and I'm like, yeah, you're good. You're still whole.
You're fine.
You're fine.
I am.
The amount of times I've wanted to go like that to you because you've told me that I'm still whole. But that remembrance becomes a positive reinforcer in the best way possible. And I think that hits on one of the things that you talk about in here, which is what you have is what you have to give. And I guess the other form of that is like what you're able to receive is then what you get to give back as well. And so we create this ever expanding community of people that know their wholeness, that operate from a place of love. And then we're all playing this pretty awesome game together.
It's a really cool game. And it's a game of remembrance.
Yeah.
That's why, you just forgot. But when we start remembering, wow. That we're merely just expanding this infinite truth that God invites us to be part of. But we've locked it all up in our conditions. Mm-hmm. We've locked it up into how we want things to look and be. Mm-hmm. And when God reminds us of who we are and reminds us of our connection and oneness with each other, for me, it just blows open the doors. And it says like, oh, wow, I just want to share this. Like you're whole.
You're whole.
You're whole.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I hear your drama. You're whole.
Yeah.
And I will say that everyone knows it. Mm-hmm. Because when I tell people that they're whole, the very least I get is, and they say it without words, is, I know, but how do I get there?
Mm-hmm. What do you say?
I say, instead of trying to figure it out with the mechanics and the doing, be it and watch what happens. Mm. I say in the book, like, we are taught to, if you if you do this, you will have this and you will be happy, right? So if
Could you give an example
yeah,
of that?
so if you go to college, you will have a degree and you will make more money and be happy. Whereas in the realm of what I claim to be truth, when you're being all that you are already from God, so when you are being amazing, when you're being love, when you're being joy, when you're being peace, watch how the doing and the having fall right into place. I mean, when we know of our love that is infinite and we know it of everyone else around us, it transforms the whole situation. I've been in situations where, for example, I was at a bar with some friends and something happened with, there was drinks involved, and before we knew it, what do you call it? Punches were ready to be thrown at each other.
Yeah.
And I just stepped in and I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that everything is good here. And I said, you're good and I'm good. And what was really crazy was the guy looked at me, paused, and he said, you and I are cool. It's your friends.
Yeah.
You know, they're the ones. I said, no. I said, it is all good. And it was just that reminder, like wholeness is.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the drama was, but it was really interesting how the craziness that was happening just dropped down. And before the next few minutes, we were just cheering and buying each other drinks. And all that because of love was claimed, wholeness was claimed, peace was claimed, and trusting it. Does it happen every time? No. I'm not saying that all your circumstances are just going to blissfully go away. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's a truth and a power within you that if you can remember, it'll transform your situation. Yeah.
So you're saying you don't have 100% hit rate on remembrance
I
for other people?
I have 100% rate on knowing that love is there, but not in regards to transforming a physical situation. And here's the example. Remembering the joy and peace within you that always existed. Let's say you have a diagnosis of a medical diagnosis that just isn't favorable. Let's just say like cancer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying your cancer is going to go away, but what I am saying is that how you handle that circumstance is going to transform.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you go from, I have cancer, now I must be depressed, unhappy, miserable, to I am whole, and then what do I see that I have and what I must do? What are you saying in that circumstance?
So, over 30 years ago, I had a sister that passed away of leukemia. And when we were in the leukemia ward, it used to just fascinate me and baffle me. At the same time, we'd walk around the ward and all these people at this point were terminally ill. And we'd go room to room because my sister made friends with different people. And each one of them were different. One person was just completely depressed, crying the entire time. Another person who had the same stage 4 or 5 was joyful and sharing the love that existed. And so I used to think like, wow, they all have the same situation, right? They're all ready to go, supposedly, according to the doctors. And yet I saw different ways of how they handled their peace and their joy. And I thought, why is that? One, it brought to mind the power that we have of our minds, and that we are the determinant of the value or the devalue of the news that is before us, and that we have the power to claim. And so what I realized at that point, it was the beginning of the beginning of the journey of remembering that regardless of what our body's doing, that we have the power to be at peace.
Yeah.
And so, as I mentioned before on our first interview, the question I ask often is like, who are you without a body? I mean, really sit with that, because we're not asked that. Instead, we're taught like, what's your body doing today?
Yeah.
And whatever it's doing,
Yeah.
then you're going to be happy or not happy.
Yeah.
And so,
how are you feeling? Oh, I'm achy, I'm sore, I'm energized. Thus, if I'm energized, I can be happy. If I'm sore, I must be unhappy. That, for what it's worth, that's probably one of my most consistent narratives internally, is like, if high energy equals happy, if I'm low energy, then I'm automatically depressed in some way. And instead, I might just need to relax a little. That could be cool.
Yeah.
I love what you had to say. It's an intense example, but it resonates, which is walking around the leukemia ward. You can find people in similar circumstances in that they're knocking on death's door.
Right.
But the approach to which they're coming to their circumstance is varied across the board.
Right.
And thus, it provides proof that you get to choose.
Right. Which brings up, like, I thought, like, well, wow, that person's at peace. That person needs to be happy. That person's depressed. What's happening? Everything from, it must either be their medication to their faith in God. But one thing that was consistent for me, the people that were at peace with the journey before them relied on something greater than themselves. And there are 3 foundational pieces to knowing your wholeness. And it is, 1, taking on the possibility that you're whole and complete. And then 2, being open to that there's something greater than yourself. God, source, the universe. And thirdly, knowing that source, its power is derived from love. And I think any 3 of those, taking on like, hey, you know what? I'm really just going to take on and experience my wholeness, regardless of what's happening, that $1 billion game. Like, I'm going to experience my wholeness no matter what. Like, I'm sitting in the back of the plane and there's a toilet going off every few seconds, and I'm going to know my wholeness. And if you're not knowing your wholeness, you begin to ask yourself, why am I not?
Yeah.
And it's always body related. And then the other thing is just realizing I can't do this alone, because everything that I've been capable of doing just is so short-lived and temporal, but just running something that is eternal, something greater than what I know, that in itself is so foundational to knowing and experiencing all that you are. And lastly, trusting love, because I think that we have a chance to choose between approaching life through love or through fear. And if you're not at peace, then your trust is in something other than love. Yeah.
What are the most consistent ways that you fall into the trap of trusting fear? What are your fear stories?
My sister walks into the room. No.
We're going to bring your sister on to the next episode, I think.
Yeah,
and then we're going to ask her about you.
That's something we're not going to do. No. But the thing, time, money, and circumstance.
But
and
for me,
it has to do with, I was raised, I taught myself that if I accomplish something, then I'm whole and perfect, that I was constantly proving. And if I'm being rocked, when I'm feeling down or depressed or anxious, I pause and I think, like, what do I think that I want here? If I already have everything, right? If I'm whole and I'm perfect, there's nothing to want, but there's something clearly here that I think that I want. And so when you ask, what are the things that bring up those fear, it has to do, I taught myself that I have to constantly perform. and that and the way that I perform, if I'm performing, it shows up in a bank account or the material things around me. And all those things are so short-lived and temporal, and certainly don't last, because the moment you make money, it's already gone. But also when we accomplish and achieve things, then those things, you're off to the next endeavor.
Right.
And that's exhausting. And once again, just giving people the invitation to like, no, you don't have to.
How do you bring yourself back? So you said this is one of the most consistent trusting of fear narratives, which is I need to produce, I need to perform in order to be whole, in order to be worthy, right? It becomes conditional. How do you bring yourself back to that remembrance of wholeness?
So in pausing to remember the truth, which is that we're perfectly whole, that love's the greatest power in the universe, that there's something greater than myself, the exercises that are spelled out in the book, there's 5 of them. And there's so many more, but the ones that resonated with me in the classroom is that in the remembrance of the truth of who I am, one, I begin to question everything. I mentioned, like, if I'm uneased or anxious, then I better start questioning what I think that I want, or questioning why I think something's making me happy, right? So that's one, question everything. Number 2, I say things like, when in doubt, focus out. So one of the exercises is, hey, if I'm up against it, instead of making it about me, why don't I just focus loving something outside of me? And it's amazing what happens when we start claiming the truth around us. The peace starts coming in, not only for the people around us, but within myself. The other thing is prayer and meditation. You know, if I'm up against it, a lot of it has to do with pause. Like when you're pausing, what are the exercises? Pray, meditate.
How do you pray?
How do I pray?
How do you pray?
It's probably unconventional.
No, I welcome that in a way, because I think prayer has often intimidated me.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, like it felt like just another thing that I could get wrong. As somebody who is a recovering perfectionist, I just saw prayer as a prescriptive thing. This is the way you're supposed to do it. So I'm curious, what is your unconventional way of praying? How do you approach it?
I think conventionally we are taught to, it's like the wish list. God, if I'm good, will you get me $1 million? Or, well, God, will you give me a car? Or make things happen? And no, prayer for me, and I think it's unconventional, is just the reclaiming of the truth that we are. I think that is, praying for me is just giving thanks. It's gratitude. So prayer and gratitude go hand in hand. Prayer is not of an asking. It's not asking for things. It's an acknowledging of like, oh wow, you made me whole. I'm one with you. So prayer is more an acknowledgement instead of an ask. And I'm not saying that you can't have conversations with God about like, hey, this is happening right now and I'm challenged with it. How do I acknowledge you and claim my peace and my happiness, and this is going on? And a lot of times I hear God like, yeah, how do you do that? Yeah. Because I'm not the one causing it. You are. Like, prayer for me is just a constant reminder of like, all the drama that you're coming up with, let's be clear. And I'm beelining to the answer. God constantly tells me like, you did that. I was always here saying to you like, you're perfectly fine. Yeah. I made you perfect. And so it's an acknowledgement of that. So, and then also one of the things is neutralizing everything around me. Because we give value to everything around us. So let's just say I miss the bus and can't make it to an appointment. The world says like, oh, you missed the appointment, you failed, you failed, you failed. Instead of, oh, I missed the bus. And instead of making it about the failure, instead of the invitation to love, every circumstance is an invitation to love. Instead of failing or succeeding. Failing, succeeding is a concept and a construct that the world taught us. But we aren't taught that everything is an invitation to love.
Why did the world teach us that?
Because it's one-dimensional. It's about the physical world. It's about time. So one of the things I believe is that in the physical world, there's time, money, and circumstance. Time is 24 hours in a day. Money is the money in your bank account. And the circumstance is the situation that we taught affects us or not affects us. Mm-hmm. But in the realm of truth is this. I believe time doesn't exist. And I believe it's always now. I believe the currency is love. So there's an infinite amount of that. Mm-hmm. And the circumstance is just right now.
It just is.
It just is.
Yeah.
And that is our relationship with God and love. A little abstract, but yeah, and it is a matter of how do you want to approach life today? Do you want to do it through the lens of the physical, which is very temporary? And I promise you, your happiness and all that drama will be temporary. Or do you want to do it? Or do you want to explore the eternal part of you that exists, not just in you and everyone? Mm-hmm. And I promise you, that's love.
How do you experience love? What does it feel like? What is it?
It makes me want to scream from the mountaintops and sing, all is good, and it'll always be good. Yeah.
What is the most consistent story you share with other people to remind them of their power to love? What is the story you like to share to remind people that they possess the power to love?
The story of themselves, if that makes sense. So it's the claiming. I think that the most effective way of sharing love and people experience it is claiming it in them. I mean, right now, Trent, I just want to let you know you're perfectly whole and complete. And watch what, and if they begin to, I just want you to just stop for a moment and experience that.
I'm gonna stop with this whole thing and just experience it.
Yeah. What I do experience 90% of the time is like, Leo, but you don't know my story. You don't know all this stuff that I'm going on. Maybe I do.
You don't know everything that's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you all these stories of what's happening.
Yeah, I'm the unique one.
Yeah.
Right, my story's worse off.
Yeah.
And I invite people even more like, what if it was that easy? Because here's the thing that I realize, I can't ever tell people what to do. But I can invite them to question what they believe, and I can claim the truth that has always existed, and I invite them to experience it. And I can say they do.
Why do I want to hang on to these stories about why I shouldn't be happy? Like, why do I want that?
Yeah, because I think that unlearning what we're taught, unlearning the things that we've trusted all these years, that's a process. It's a practice. Yeah. So if I told you, like, you know what, you don't need money to be happy, you'd be like, yeah, drop me off in the middle of the jungle, see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying to do that, but I am asking you to just question your relationship with your comforts and with money. Yeah. And I am not saying that you can get by living in California without certain things. But I am saying that there's something greater than money that knows of our truth, that knows of our peace, that knows of our joy, that is everlasting.
It sort of begs the question of like, if you had the infinite bank account, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do with it? What would you spend it on? What would you then go do with your life? With the time that you have, what would you do if you had infinite money? What would you do with the remaining time that you're allocated?
And my claim is that everybody has this infinite bank account. The title of your podcast, Listening and Leaping, may we just do our part. And so I'm here to just share the good news with one person at a time. That so if I had an infinite amount of money and of love, I would be sharing the good news. And so one person at a time.
One person at a time, one episode at a time, one conversation at a time.
Absolutely.
One interaction at a time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening and leaping and conversing today. It's been a real pleasure to get this time together.
As always, thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you more.
An absolute pleasure to have the Godfather, Leonardo Ramil, with us today. His book, You're Perfectly Whole, You Just Forgot, is the perfect reminder to even just have up on the shelf. That's why I've got all my sticky notes in here. Is I pulled out some quotes that are the reminders that I want to invoke in my daily life. That's the inspiration that I'm looking to put into action. So one specifically from our conversation that I want to put into action this next week is the $1 billion game. If I find myself living in this story of why I should be unhappy or why I should be miserable, I want to invoke the inspiration that he provided, which is this $1 billion game, and reverse the narrative. Tell myself a different story. Could I tell myself a different story for $1 billion? And I'm pretty sure the answer is always going to be yes.